Hello, my friends. Leo Babauta from Zen Habits here, and in this video, we're going to talk about dealing with insecurities, how to overcome them. So let's talk about what insecurities are first, and then we'll talk about how to actually deal with them. So everybody has some insecurities. Insecurities about our looks, our bodies. Am I a good enough person? Am I a good mother or father? Am I a good, sibling or, daughter? These kinds of things. Am I good at what I'm doing? I might feel insecurity as I think about putting my work out into the world. I might feel insecurity about what others think about me as I post on, social media or as I do my work or give a presentation. Insecurities will come up. So we all have them, and there isn't anything wrong with having insecurities. So this is just a human thing. We feel insecure about ourselves and our place in the world. Are we doing something meaningful? Are we too lazy? Are we stupid? Are we going to embarrass ourselves? So these are uncertainties that we're feeling about ourselves. And this is totally normal and human. So the first thing that I want to say about insecurities is we all have them. They're normal and human, and there isn't anything wrong with it. We need to let go of the idea that we shouldn't have insecurities or that we should, or there's something wrong with us if we do have those. So that's the first thing, and I think it's probably the most important thing that I can share. Okay, so then, why even have a video about it other than to share what I just shared? Well, they can get in the way. So, insecurity is simply just a little feeling of fear, anxiety, like shakiness inside. It's an experience of shakiness. But then from that, to protect ourselves, we will often have a set of thoughts or a one or more thoughts that come from that. And then we also have a set of actions. And the thoughts and the actions are meant to protect us from this feeling of shakiness. If we're feeling insecure about ourselves, then we might think some things and we might do some things. And so my intention right now in this part of the video is actually to shine a light on these things that I actually think are mostly invisible for most of us, but they have a lot of power over us. So let's say I'm feeling some insecurity in my romantic relationship. Let's say I have a partner and they are out having fun with people, and maybe I have an insecurity about them having more fun with other people, caring more about them. I'm not so relevant to them. So that would be a common insecurity in relationship. It could also be like, who are they looking at on Instagram or TikTok? It could be like, are they, do they care about me? Do they want to spend time with other people more than they want to spend time with me? So these are common insecurities within a relationship. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be romantic relationships. We might worry like, oh, does my best friend care about me? Do my kids care about me? And so forth. And it doesn't have to be in relationships, but these can this is a common one. So let's just use that as an example. My partner out having fun with friends and not me. To some people that this wouldn't matter. Their insecurities might lie in putting themselves out in public, or how they look, to others at work or on social media, whatever. But for some people, this is actually very present. So I have an insecurity about my partner caring more about others or not really caring about me. And so notice, first of all, that it's just they're out doing something, and I just have a feeling in my body. Ooh, like what are they doing that's, does do they care about me? So then I start having these thoughts. The thoughts come from this, and the thoughts are, oh, do they care about me? Or maybe the thought is, they care more about others than they care about me. Or like thoughts are, I'm not really important to them. So those are thoughts. Those kinds of thoughts are usually invisible to us. We don't even know we're having them. We just think them. We start thinking them out of habit, really. This is a protective habit. If I can say like, oh, maybe they care more about them than me, then as a protection, what I might do from that, if that's a thought that I have, is I might distance myself from this person. That's protection, right? If they care more about others than me, then I'm going to protect myself. Or another action that is common from this is I might try and reach out and like pull them towards me, cling to them more, which comes across sometimes as neediness, jealousy, or control, right? So maybe I'm trying, actually it's all control, but I might feel controlling to my partner. Oh, I don't want you spending time with those people. They're not good for you. That would be me trying to protect myself from them not caring about me as much as they care about their friends. But to that person, it's going to feel like control, right? To my partner, it's going to feel like they're being controlled. In other ways that I might control them is to guilt trip them. Like, oh, you're always spending time with them. You don't care about me. Or maybe I do it in a less direct way, a little more passive aggressiveness, guilt tripping, blaming and shaming. Like, I don't know why you always have to go out with your friends. All you do is go out with your friends. This would be kind of like using anger to like shame the person. So these are examples in a relationship that are actually pretty common, that come from insecurity. So what we're noticing here is it simply starts as a feeling of insecurity in my body. That's just a simple sensation. And then there's some thoughts. Oh, they care more about those people than they care about me. And then there's some actions that I might take. Control them, blame them, make them feel shame, guilt. Maybe I distance myself from them. Oh, go ahead and spend time with your friends. You know, I'm gonna be doing this thing over here and like not care about them, and you're not gonna see me for 4 days because I'm so busy doing my stuff with other people and I don't care about you. That's like a I'm showing you that I care less about you than you care about me. That'll be another common one, but there might be a number of other things too. And what we're looking at here is an example in a relationship of insecurity and how that might play out. But actually, this model that I'm just sharing with you is how insecurity works everywhere. So I'm feeling something, then I think something, and then I try and do something to protect myself. So actions. Usually the actions are less than mature. They usually are something that we came up with as a strategy in childhood. And so we might actually judge our actions because like that's not who I am. I'm not this immature, like controlling, guilt tripping, shaming kind of person. But actually, I formed these protection mechanisms a long time ago when I was a kid or a teenager. And so, yeah, they aren't the most mature responses, but that's just the only thing I know how to do when I have these thoughts. And again, before that, I have these feelings. So let's take it out of jealousy and relationships and use this same example, as we talk about, let's say, insecurity about putting my work out into the world in some way, either giving a presentation, or maybe I have to give a talk on a stage, or maybe I want to put my writing out into the world, and post, some things on social media as writing. These are all ways that might put my work out into the world. But then I have some insecurities about whether I'm good enough to do that. So notice if I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to give a talk at this conference. Ooh, start feeling some insecurity in the body. And then I have some thoughts like, ooh, I need to really be super prepared. I'm going to hire a speech coach. I'm going to do research on all the best TED Talks. I'm going to make the perfect outline, the perfect speech. I'm going to practice it 10,000 times. I'm going to deliver it and be perfect. Okay, so what you notice there is there's some thoughts. I need to be super prepared. And then there's some actions. I'm going to do all of these things to make myself super prepared. And what we can guess is that this person is going to spend a lot of time on this and maybe never feel prepared. Prepared there's like a perfectly prepared is actually an impossibility because we're always going to feel some insecurity. So this is an example of giving a talk, but the thought and then there's the actions, all the things that I need to do to make myself feel prepared. And what we might notice is that this thought, I need to be prepared, underneath that thought is actually another belief, which is if I'm not super prepared, then people are going to judge me. I'm going to embarrass myself. And that's really what I don't want. So I don't even think those thoughts. Those are the assumptions underneath. I need to be super prepared, right? So there's some assumptions underneath. So let's go back to the relationship insecurities. They're spending more time with these people. They care more about these people than me. What's the assumption underneath that? That there's something inadequate about me, something wrong with me, unlovable about me, unworthy about me, that makes this person care more about spending time with them than me. And so that's the fear. That's the real fear. Is there something wrong with me? I'm going to be left. I'm going to be abandoned. And then again, in the conference talk one example, the fear is I'm not good enough and I'm going to embarrass myself. People are going to judge me. I might not even ever think those things, but what I do think is I need to be super prepared. And then I take some actions. There's a number of other ways that that might go. One is like, I shouldn't give a talk. That's not a good idea. Like maybe I need to be doing things where I keep my nose down, head down. Don't do good work, but don't ever put my work out there into the world. And so what I might do then in terms, that's a thought from my insecurities. And then my actions might be, I'm just going to do things that are private. I'm never going to put any work out into the world. And what that might get me is, um, I never get any recognition. I never make an impact on the world in a big way. I might not do things that feel really meaningful to me. And I might just kind of like resign myself to a life where I stay hidden, unseen, feel irrelevant. And relevancy is one of the greatest human needs. So, you know, we can go into 1,000 examples, but what I'm trying to share here is in all of these examples, and there's many others, we all have insecurities. There is a feeling of insecurity. There's some kind of thought, like, I just need to do this, or they care more about this, or something like that. Underneath that thought is actually a deeper fear about ourselves. And then there's some actions, a set of actions that I might take to protect myself that usually are not necessarily the best. Procrastination and avoidance and resistance are all examples of that, actually. Um, Overthinking things, getting caught up in indecision, doubting myself over and over and over again. These are all common ones as well. Some common thoughts when we're having these kinds of insecurities are things like, I'm not good enough. I need to have more credentials. I need, people aren't going to like this. No one's going to care. It's just pointless. These are all thoughts that come from the insecurity that have me take these kinds of actions. So what I would encourage you to do is to look at what is your insecurity that's holding you back, and what are the thoughts that come up when you feel the insecurity. What are the actions you take? What's the deeper underlying fear? So these are some prompts that I'm giving you to examine your own insecurity. And then what does this create in your life if you are always thinking these thoughts and taking these actions to protect yourself? Okay, so let's imagine you've gotten clear on that and we want to actually overcome this insecurity. Well, the first thing that we might do is bring awareness to it, like we're doing it with these prompts. Oh, right now, the insecurity is happening. It's really hard to notice. And so the way that we might notice it is just try and catch it, make a little journal about it, write something about it. But sometimes we can't catch it. It's a blind spot. And so what we might do then is ask yourself, if I didn't have this insecurity, let's imagine there's no fear, no insecurity, how would I act? What would I want to do? Like, oh, actually, I would give that talk on stage, or I would start putting my work out there more, or I would trust my partner and let them go out with their friends and then find some really amazing things for myself to do while they go out, or whatever it is, right? So ask yourself, what would you do if you didn't have the fear or the insecurity? And then commit yourself to doing that. And when you commit yourself to doing that, the fear and insecurity will inevitably come up. It will arise, and then you can catch it. So now we can bring awareness to it when it shows up, and we can then work with it. Next thing is when you do notice it, my encouragement for you is to drop into the body, the sensation of the insecurity, and just feel it. So my partner is, cares more about others than me. Ooh, how does that feel? I feel a little bit hurt. I feel a little bit shaky. I feel a little bit like needy, which is okay. Needy, hurt, shaky are all human things. And how does that feel in the body? Just like notice, oh yeah, it's right here in the chest. It feels like a shakiness or a tightness. And I would encourage you to breathe and just stay with that sensation for a minute or so. And as we do so, what we're doing is we're actually showing ourselves that this feeling, it matters to us. How we feel matters. And we're also showing ourselves that uh, it's not the end of the world. It's not that big of a deal. It's nothing we need to actually protect ourselves from. We can actually just be there with that feeling. Okay, once you've done that, um, what I would encourage you to do is to notice the thoughts that come up and come up with a counter thought. So, for example, oh, my partner cares more about others, wants to spend time with others other than me. What you want to do is be like, actually, I want my partner to have other friendships that makes them feel more secure. Instead of just being isolated with me, they get to have a richer life. And so there's a feeling of generosity towards your partner. They get to have other friendships. They get to go and have fun. They get to like have a life that includes multiple relationships. And that's actually a good thing for me. This is going to make my partner feel more secure, more happy, less insecure, less anxiety. This is good for my partner. So being generous towards them is good for them and good for me. And I can also say, like, as they go out and do things with their friends, this is actually a gift of time for me. I get to like read a book, watch a movie that they didn't want to watch, maybe hang out with other people, get on a call with someone who I haven't talked to in a while. It's a real gift of my me time, my alone time, or my time with others. Maybe I go and hang out with my best friend who I haven't talked to in a while. And so this is actually a gift. These are counter thoughts. Same thing with the conference. Giving a talk at a conference. Oh, I need to be prepared. People are going to judge me. Maybe I have a counter thought to that, which is actually I want to put this work out into the world. This is my act of generosity, putting it out there. And yeah, maybe I'm going to look dumb or whatever, but that's something that I'm going to trust myself with to be able to like stumble on stage, look a little bit dumb, make a joke about it, and keep going, even though, maybe I'm not perfect. Maybe give myself a little bit of grace to not be perfect, but to deal with my imperfections live on stage um, and let myself engage with a generous act of putting this work out into the world. So that would be an example, but you might come up with your own. Whatever your insecurities are, come up with a counter to the old thoughts or beliefs that come up for you. And then my last encouragement would be to take the actions as if you were super confident. Now, I know you're not, and this is a little bit like the fake it till you make it kind of thing. But what we want to do is start practicing something different. This is going to require us to put ourselves out there. If you're dating, go up to people and say hello. Be like, hey, my name is Leo. I saw you over here and I was just like, wanted to talk to you, interested in talking to you. So if I were super confident, I'd go and do that. So let me just practice that. And I might be a little bit shaky, I might embarrass myself a little bit, but I'm going to practice it as if I were super confident. And what that's going to do is get me out of my comfort zone, have me practicing actions that are not protected. And then eventually, what happens is that I develop more and more trust in myself to actually deal with that situation. Say hello to a stranger and introduce myself to them and ask them some questions about themselves. Like, hey, what are you reading there? Look like you were reading a book. Um, is it good? Tell me about it. I can tell you about what I've been reading. Oh, are you into sci-fi? Yeah, like me too. Have you ever read, Robert Heinlein? Whatever. Just kind of trust yourself, to deal with that and then have fun with it. So that would be how to deal with insecurities. Now, this is a pretty broad topic, so if you have questions about specific insecurities that I didn't address, I'd love to hear from you. But in the end, what I really want you to do is to encourage yourself to develop awareness, be with the feeling of insecurity, come up with some replacement thoughts instead of the thoughts that have protected you and controlled you over the years, and then act as if you were supremely confident and see how that goes. Trust yourself. Okay, my friends, that's what I've got for you today. Please give me a like if you like this video. It helps others to find it. Leave a comment with, what helped you, questions that you might have, struggles you might have. Share it with us. And then share this video with others who might use some Zen habits in their lives. And if you wouldn't mind, subscribe. I'd love to develop a community here of Zen habits followers, people who are into this kind of thing, asking questions, commenting, sharing their journey, and then make suggestions for future videos. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, my friends. Talk to you later.